Argentavis flexed a wingspan of up to 23 feet, weighed as much as an adult man, and would have been about the size of a
23 feet? Are you serious? 23? Yo!
Cessna 152. And on the ground, they would have looked that same grown man in the
Look at this! Alright. And today we've got Why We Owe a Vulture on Steroids, an Apology by Casual Geographic. I have not viewed a Casual Geographic vid in a brick. I think the last time I tried, I don't remember precise. Let me double check, because I think the last time I tried was a dolphin one and the video got messed up. No, I was wrong. I reacted to the down bad bird, 12 highly questionable bird facts, which included the down bad bird, or the bird with like big titties. Anyways, let's just get straight into it. I got nothing else to say. Let's go. Oh my goodness!
Don't be scared. He's just a baby. He will get bigger. Close your eyes and visualize.
I'm very sorry, what? You ever seen those wingspan charts? He'd be the nigga with the longest wingspan. Like, look at that. Like, maybe not just by like length, but off the fact that he's just huge and his wings are thick as fuck too.
Don't be scared. He's just a baby. He will get bigger. Close your eyes and visualize the most disrespected animal on Earth. Now open them and apologize for not thinking of the living laundry lint. You don't respect this dinosaur nearly enough. Many people have never seen this flying fossil, or they have and never wish to.
Why is that the sound they make? That's not the sound of something friendly.
Ever again. The world will be a legitimate horror movie without them, yet this creature and its kind are still very much maligned by humanity. But you'll see why. The first two videos pretty much sums up our relationship with them, especially when you let it play all the way. I told you, just a baby. That is a baby Andean condor, and condors are Jurassic vultures on steroids. There's the Andean.
It's a condor? I've heard of condors. I think this is the first time I've seen an actual condor. Any other time besides that, it was that Jackie Chan joint.
And the California condor, and both are built like a prehistoric paralysis demon. They're the closest relative of Argentavis, and I live a life of decency and virtue because otherwise I know I'd see this homicidal death pigeon in hell. Argentavis flexed a wingspan of up to 23 feet, weighed as much as an adult man, and would have been about the size of a
23 feet? Are you serious? 23? Yo!
Cessna 152. And on the ground, they would have looked that same grown man in the
Look at this! Look at this! That's insane! What?
eye. The condors of today are slightly smaller, with Andeans having a wingspan of
you slightly, huh?
Which is how the bird can stay in the air for hours without flapping their wings once. In fact, by using thermal drafts, one condor managed to soar for 5 hours and cover 100 miles. All that and no flap. The feather relic is also one of the longest living birds, with some surviving up to 70 trips.
That is
around the
actually
sun.
cool though.
Not only does puberty turn an avian dust bunny into Skeksis from Dark Crystal, they end up becoming the biggest birds of prey on Earth. You can't imagine waking up to a dragon and drag outside your window, and that's because you're not from Chile. Not only is it the national bird of Chile, shout out to Chile, they even have a Chilean comic based on them called Condorito. Lucky for Chileans, this dog, and my mental health, condors are absolutely harmless. Unless you watch Total Drama, because that might have been the first time Alejandro got his rocked. But yeah, it's a good thing that a bird that could pass for a man in a suit is a scavenger.
I don't even remember that from Total Drama, but also, them being harmless, it speaks for, that's just nature speaking for itself, making us afraid of just the way things look.
To be fair, that is a man in a suit, but it's for a good reason. Dude, I was kidding about the Jesus. Time really hasn't been kind to the condor. It might actually be the dinosaur left behind. Way back in the day, California condors made a meal out of megafauna like mammoths, bison, and giant ground sloths after they passed tense. It's believed.
Did you say mammoths?
It'd actually be the dinosaur left behind. Way back in the day, California condors made a meal out of megafauna like mammoths, bison, and giant ground sloths.
What?
after they passed tense. It's believed that it was the presence of plus-size prey in the Pleistocene
Oh.
that allowed condors
Okay, so they were still kind of like vultures where they would eat off of dead things. Okay, I thought you were saying they predatored, like they would hunt mammoths. I would have been like, fuck no. Get that shit out. We don't need a bird hunting mammoths.
to get so big. The problem is, mammoths and giant sloths got discontinued a while ago, meaning a literal big bird got left holding the bag. It's a biological anachronism. The condorito was built for a time that is long gone, and when many of the megafauna disappeared, the condor flirted with the oblivion too. Somehow they survived, but that would not be the closest condors would come to extinction. The sick joke is, DDT was really good at murking insects, but even better at erasing everything else, and condors caught the biggest stray, since the same pesticides would weaken eggshells and cause them to break.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible. That's actually horrible how much that shit flew back then. Like, it still flies now, but the fact that it was like, oh, we just gotta get shit done. We don't care about everything around. And it just destroyed the eggs like that. That's actually sad.
Condors only have one egg every 2 years, and the lint chicken that comes out can take up to 8 to mature, and this painfully slow reproductive rate only made the effects of DDT hit harder. But wait, there's more. As an aerial coffin, many condors die from lead poisoning caused by the bullets hunters leave in the dead. Ben Beowulf was a condor raised in the Los Angeles Zoo who was released to help contribute to the population. He never would, as he would die 3 months later with an air gun pellet in his gizzard and another statistic for lead poisoning. And if that wasn't bad
Come on, bro.
enough, Johnny Cash nearly soloed the entire species. Johnny Cash is known for many songs that I cannot name, but I do know him as the guy that got high, started a fire to stay warm, and caused a forest fire that not only...
Oh, wow! Someone causing a forest fire! Again, destroying... Can we start, like... bro, come on. There's no... Come on, man. It's always people who start like forest fires. Just doing shit, bro.
burnt 500 acres of a national forest. It cooked 49 of the
500?
there. When asked, did you start the fire? National forest. It cooked 49 of the condors living
And there were only 53 to begin with.
there. When asked, did you start the fire? Cash said, no, my truck did, and it's dead, so you can't question it. Okay, Cash. When asked if he felt bad, Johnny said, well, I feel pretty good right now. Evidently, the forest wasn't the only thing that got blazed, and when the judge reminded him of his hate crime towards condors, Cash asked, why should he care? After the federal government took $125,000 worth of care out of his account, he got his answer.
Okay, good. I was gonna say 125. That is not a lot. But then it says 1.4 mil in today's dollars. It's like, all right. That's more than just change.
Also, I lied. I can name one song, Ring of Fire. No currency could bring the condors back.
Crazy.
Years of getting jumped by DDT, lead poisonings, and human hubris had the California condor population down all the way to 27 left in the world by 1987. The bird from a land before time was about to flatline. That is until folks finally decided to step up. For all the damage done to the condor, humanity came in clutch for the cause. They went all out, first by capturing all the wild condors left, and when they were done, every condor alive was in captivity. Then they really put in work. Condor eggs have a longer release time than a Spider-Verse movie, but a biohazard...
That was a nasty stray. Oh my goodness. That shit ain't ever coming out. Which one we getting first, bro? GTA or Spider-Verse 2? Or Spider-Verse 3, I mean.
A second, even third egg if the first one is removed. So the strat was to collect condor eggs for caretakers to raise themselves, basically doubling the output. This would save the condor population at the last absolute second, as condors would begin to be airdropped back into the wild in the 90s. And today, there's over 500 California condors, both in captivity and seasoned across the Southwest. There is one problem with
WS. This time, we stopped the extinction of a population.
raising condors, and it's that the condors can become attached to humans, and like we always say on this channel, the worst thing a wild animal can do is lose its fear of people. The condor compromise was raising these floof nuggets with hand puppets in their parents' likeness. This allowed keepers to teach baby condors how to condor while also retaining their natural fear of humans, which I thought was what was happening here, but I looked into it and this has nothing to do with conservation. This is just love of the game. Must be mutual, because if you look closer, that's also a condor in a man's suit. Convincing, right? But raising condors is more than just throwing meat at a panhandle.
Huh?
Condor in a man's suit. Convincing, right?
Okay.
Right? But raising condors is more than just throwing meat at a panhandling puffball. There's a method. In the late 80s and early 90s, folks started raising kid condors in this like daycare system, but with no older birds. But because they had no older birds to use as role models, when the condors were released, they basically acted like teenagers with their parents gone for the weekend. They do things like approach people, invade campsites, and even enter buildings. Things you don't want an endangered species doing. So
yeah.
Instead, folks shifted tactics based on how wild condors come up and would have a baby sitting by itself most of the time, only occasionally being visited by an adult, aka a puppet. Later on, they'd be assigned an older mentor condor to show them the ropes, and in the final step, both would be moved to a flight pen for the fledgling to learn how to fly.
Okay.
And caretakers would teach stranger danger by using the business end of a water gun on any condor that got too friendly with humans to keep them appropriately people PTSD. They'd also use like shock therapy to teach condors to avoid frying themselves on power lines. But the job's not finished once you have condors.
That's helpful. Okay, hold on a minute. They teed up. I'm not saying I wasn't involved in this, but they teed up. Humans teed up on this one. Hold on a minute. Like, we didn't just say, hey, okay, this is what we're doing. We put thought into this. We put everything on this. Hold on a minute.
In the wild. I won't call them the pandas of birds because, well, one, pandas don't deserve that self-plug, but two, condors have an even harder time making more of themselves. 25% of California condor eggs are infertile duds that have to be replaced before the couple gives up. Side note, I just remembered, condors can pull a Virgin Mary where a female can lay and hatch a fully functional egg with zero male involvement, like maternal menaces, parthogenesis, and I feel like having that move in your bag and almost never using it, even with your population halfway in past tense, Like I get that it's mostly our fault, but like help us help you anyway. There's no guarantee once the egg hatches anyway, because many chicks get accidentally poisoned by micro trash, which clogs their system and starves them to death. So researchers gotta constantly sift through the nest for micro trash, and any chick suspected to be contaminated is kidnapped and medevaced for surgery. Which also means someone has to camp by the nest for 24 hours and keep the parents from coming home to an empty one and abandoning it. Gatekeeping a dragon from its child for a day sounds more like a Mr. Beast challenge than a way to spend your zoology degree. If a mixed condor can avoid lead poisoning, pollution, and getting deep fried on power lines, it'll roam the skies for decades.
Watching animals today, yo.
Condors along the way. And if they're lucky, they'll have the same partner by their side the whole time. Condors do not get enough credit for how loyal they are. The symbol of unity can have a 5% divorce rate, and a penguin can propose with his best pebble and still get cheated on. But for the most part, a condor will see another condor and just spend the next 40 years making it work. Unless death really does them part. But condors aren't just loyal to their mate. Believe it or not, an overgrown struggle vulture has a social structure on par with chimpanzees and wolves. Condors have a social hierarchy where every bird knows its rank, especially at the dinner table, where elders dominate. Which is why those raised without other condors end up with avian Alzheimer's, as in they forget their place. But it's not just a hierarchy. Condors will have a friend group that they'll hang with, and if you're around long enough, you'll see them preening, play fighting, and even chasing each other. They'll even look after other injured condors and share food with those that can't do so for themselves. What kind of bird of prey you know that's moving like that? The social butterfly nature is why we had to put on the hand puppets in the first place. When I said condors can get attached to humans, we're talking about a commitment lasting years. Eduardo is an Argentinian cattle farmer who found an injured condor on his property and helped bring the bird back to health. Now, every once in a while, the condor visits a man that saved him as a thank you and even tries to preen him. But to me, the wildest part is the condor didn't imprint on Ed because it eventually went back into the wild instead of following him around, so this venti vulture is actively going out of its way to see him. Who'd expect that kind of emotional depth from a cloud casket? Well, anyone who's worked with them, because they'll tell you that vultures are sky puppies with personalities that'll even have favorite keepers that they'll run to when excited. They're also curious and will play with anything from actual toys to the socks and shoelaces of their preferred human. Many keepers swear by vultures being the most fun bird to train because their curiosity and attachment makes them act like precocious children.
Yo, that guy had hops. Hold on.
Bird to train because their curiosity and attachment.
Great. Like, I know they fly, but still crazy. He didn't fly up. He just jumped up. Wow.
Makes them act like precocious children, always looking for their parents' approval. They're even on the short list of animals smart enough to use tools, with Egyptian vultures using rocks to crack open ostrich eggs. You wouldn't expect that from a career scavenger and death merchant. Vultures have been underrated, and fun fact, there's old world and new world vultures. and they're not related. Vultures are essential workers. They're just so important that nature went ahead and made them twice. But this is not a vulture glaze video, so before we talk about the good, we gotta speed run the side you probably already know. Everything I've said about vultures is still true, but it's also true that they have the nastiest diet of any animal. They'll eat the foulest, most putrid piece of meat like a kid.
Look. There's no wild animal that won't murk you that wouldn't have a bad diet. It speaks for itself. They murk you, then eat you. Carnivores, bound to have something bad in that diet. Bound to eat some nasty shit.
Eats candy, and having a weak beak and feet means they'll break into a body from the worst half. Which is why vultures are bald. No point in having feathers when you're going to be neck deep in a dead buffalo. Being bald also helps with temperature. So does another thing they do. Vultures practice urohydrosis, where they'll leak liquid nasty all over their legs to cool off like sweat. So if you see a vulture with ashy feet, now you know. Also, some vultures will weaponize their diet, as turkey vultures will projectile vomit sewer-smelling foulness I can't even imagine. Or maybe I just don't want to.
Wait, no. Imagine you're next to a vulture and you like bump into them and it got you fucked up and then they just vomit on you. Like they just look dead in your eyes and projectile the vomit straight up to you. That's nasty.
Especially if they spray you in the eyes, and if it hits feathers, the acid nerfs the ability to fly. That's not the most offensive thing vultures do. Contrary to popular belief, black vultures will camp out in flock around sheep giving birth and immediately swarm the newborn, gouging the eyes out and eating the blind lamb alive. That's not even mentioning what vultures do to the economy. You do know vulture vomit and dookie juice can cause power outages when they pile up on transmission towers, and that vulture curiosity can send your car in
Vultures are pretty cool. They're pretty cool and pretty pain in the ass. Like, you're telling me vultures taking a shit on my power lines is the reason my power cuts out? Imagine it's just a bunch of vultures taking a shit on like one of them damn on like a transformer, one of them towers. The guy that has to go fucking fix it just sees a bunch of vulture shit.
Turns into the stratosphere, as necro-tweeties are liable to scratch paint, rip rubber seals and wipers off cars, and even tear the vinyl seat covers from boats and tractors. That's
okay,
not
assholes!
The possibility of them contaminating water sources with their acidic feces, when the coliform bacteria from it invades water towers or reservoirs. Not to mention, being the highest flying bird can backfire when they join the Mile High Club after getting rear-ended by a plane engine, which makes vultures, in terms of damage, one of the costliest animals in America, estimated to cause about $3 million and $1.2 million in damages to military and civil aircraft.
That sucks. That unfortunately sucks.
Respectively. When you add the dent they leave in infrastructure and livestock, vultures are capable of burning a multi-million-dollar hole in the economy. But the real damage is to the economy of your social life. Let a guest see, smell, or otherwise perceive a committee of vultures on your property, and that might just be the last time they ever come over. But most people would probably forgive all of that if they weren't so ugly. So it's not hard to see how people see a vulture and see nothing but a nuisance. Well, vultures have no business being as OP as they are. Many animals have powerful digestive juices to eat carcasses, but no animal can match a Hades chicken's internal fortitude. Vulture's stomach acid has a pH lower than 1, meaning they can destroy toxins like anthrax and cholera that would one-shot almost anything else. Botulism is considered the most potent natural substance on Earth, as the toxins produced by bacteria attacks the body's nerves, causing muscle paralysis, difficulty breathing, and even death. Let alone the fact some people pay to put that in their face. The vulture's nervous system is resistant to that same bacteria and can also tank the same bacteria that can cause tetanus and gangrene with zero effects. Not to mention, when they're knee-deep in death and decay, leaking liquid on their legs not only cools them, it acts as an antiseptic that kills bacteria on contact. Vultures are what that 0.1% of germs are afraid of, and pathogens like tuberculosis, salmonella, leprosy, and even rabies meet their end in a vulture's gizzard.
Golly!
This is a big deal because if you watch this video,
the whole bone, nigga? The whole bone? Wow.
Yo, another plug, but you know rabies is the disease that scares me the most. The idea of a disease rewiring your brain chemistry for the worse while also making you afraid of water, something that is non-negotiable if you want to live, haunts me. Rabies buries an estimated 70,000 people a year, and with the most common cause of cases being dog bites, it's most destructive in areas with a large stray population, like India. But there's two things India did that gave rabies the green light. First was them criminalizing euthanizing stray dogs, but the main reason was a complete accident. Diclofenac was a drug used as a painkiller and anti-inflammatory for cattle, but that same drug also caused fatal kidney failure in the vultures that ate them. This did an absolute
Rabies is the oldest virus on Earth, not
many
facts.
species cut down by 99%. Not only was it one of the fastest collapses of a bird species, the consequences of the sudden disappearance of nature's cleanup crew was predictable, as the number of rabies cases skyrocketed. And you remember what I said about vultures in the economy? Well, the free fall of the vulture population likely led to the deaths of 500,000 people and an economic loss of 70 million. Ooh, that's a comma. 70 billion.
70. Oh shit! You accidentally wipe out like 90% of a species and it costs you $70 billion. Shit. And it was an accident too. Oh my god.
From 2000 to 2005. But don't think it's just India that benefited from a scavenger stimulus package. Anthrax outbreaks are a semi-common occurrence in places like Kruger National Park in South Africa and Virunga National Park in the Congo, especially in places where you can have.
Yeah, man, this life ecosystem is so fragile. And by the way, I'm from India. Shout out to you from India. Shout out to people from India. But yeah, no, the ecosystems are crazy. I remember this MatPat video. I don't even know what the theory is about. He just got on the topic of how they eliminated wolves from a park and then it got overrun by deer. And because of that, the entire ecosystem was slowly fucking up. Like, you can't just manually change that shit without thinking about the consequences. Hell, the fucking king toad video we watched from Pars, they introduced the invasive species to try and handle the invasive species, made everything worse. Made everything worse. It's like a game of Jenga, but most of the blocks are gone and you gotta pick a middle block with the shit there, one there. Like right there, you know? I remember one time someone left a Dorito bag in a cave, and due to that, the ecosystem started collapsing because Doritos introduced new bacteria. Wow. Oh, wow. That's crazy to think about on its own. Like, not just like the chip, but just like the fact that that bag had the new bacteria, so everything just started to get worse. Man, gotta take care of nature, man. We gotta do our part.
Pool parties that contain more hippo than pool, and these outbreaks can kill up to 100 hippos at a time. Not only that, but these outbreaks can reach humans, as in 2011, over 500 cases of anthrax poisonings in humans were reported after 80-something hippos died of the same. Now imagine the carnage if you didn't have bald-headed equalizers clearing the disease for the free. Like I said, there's a reason nature thought vultures were so nice they made them twice. Vultures also contribute to society in less dramatic ways, as in the 1930s, the Union Oil Company of Texas started putting mercaptan in natural gas, and with turkey vultures often gathering around the smell, they'd use the birds as markers to locate gas leaks. Vultures also act as an alarm bell for illegal poaching activity, as them circling over an area is like a Batman signal to park rangers. Unfortunately, that has also made them a target for poachers, who purposely try to poison them. Evidently, the only toxin vultures have no answer for is humanity. Like I said, you do not respect vultures nearly enough, and I take back what I said about them being ugly. The griffin vulture mogs any eagle you can think of. The bearded vulture is like a Pokemon fire type come to life.
I was just looking at that and thinking, nigga, is that Moltres? I was just thinking, that looks like Moltres. Holy shit. That's tough, though.
The king vulture is just an ethereal specimen of a bird. That is, if you can ignore the chesticle situation. And oh, my sweet baby boy. If there are no condors alive, just know that I have died. And that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you drink water, hug your mother. Put some respect on the vulture's game. Shout out to this comment for making me make this video. Acknowledge your father, and I'ma see y'all in the next one.
W video by Casual Geographic, man. Vultures, we did We unfortunately did a Vulture on steroids dirty. We unfortunately did Condors dirty. Wow. Cannot pronounce my words. That's also the first time I've like heard about actual condors and like seen an actual condor. But the first one, that earliest one, that was fucking huge. Oh my goodness. Wow, I can't imagine having something like that today. Like you just have a big ass bird size of a fucking plane. Would we find a way to, would we survive that shit? Like, I don't think we would be, we'd get it to this point, you know? Shall I recommend an animal video? Sure. However, let me also wrap this up real quick. Bad clap. That is going to be Casual Geographic's Why We Owe Vulture on Steroids. An apology if you guys want to check out the original, make sure you go check out the link in the description below. Then also like, subscribe, comment your favorite part, share the video if you think someone else would like the video. And follow my socials. Come over to the Twitch. Cannot pronounce today. With that being said, I'll see you all next time. Peace.
Keep the body once just to be sure. Oh yeah, that's a red dead deputy. Full clip with the red dead weaponry. Go chopper still walk with it next to me. Bullets beats out of they hit him with force. Boys ride with no bitch in the back of it. Yeehaw from the burn, I'm smacking it. Put the weed to the gun when I'm packing it. Red shot, hit him all you see is a red dot.